Hello and welcome one and all. If you're familiar with the goofy horror films House and House 2, The Second Story, both made in 1986 and 1987, then you probably know that they're both very cheesy yet very entertaining movies. I've always loved watching them. So today we're going to take a look at House 3. So what could possibly go wrong?
Okay, Sean Cunningham. He was the producer of the first two House films and some of the Friday the 13th movies. So far, so good. The horror show. Why does that sound so familiar? Well, if you look it up, you can find out that this movie was originally just called The Horror Show, but for the overseas market, they adopted the title of House 3. So when the owners of the series made their real third movie, the name was already taken, so they had to call it House 4.
Alright, wait, let me see if I've got this straight.
So, House 4 is actually the third movie, and House 3 isn't even a part of the series at all? Man, that's bullshit. Now let's take a look at the cover art for the series. The first one has a severed, rotting hand ringing a doorbell with one finger. The second one has the same hand holding up two fingers for House 2. The real third one with the number 4 spot has the same hand with 4 fingers up. And this movie, masquerading as House 3, has a colorful purple sky and a green hand that looks like it's just trying to grab you. If you're going to use the name from a series, I'd think you'd at least stay with their cover art trend. Though I guess this should warn people that this one is nothing like the others who share its name, and the shitty-looking cover is just an omen of things to come.
Great! So now we don't know what to expect from this name-stealing bastard of a movie, so let's just hope it's at least halfway decent.
Alright, the main character is played by Lance Henriksen. I've always liked him in his roles. He's a very well-known and loved horror genre actor, but let's face it, he doesn't always play in good movies, so that doesn't really help us out a whole hell of a lot with what to expect out of this one. The first thing that bothers me right away is actually this opening scene. Before we even have any kind of conflict established, they expect us to be in suspense just because there's a paranoid guy stalking through his house in the dark with subtle creepy music playing. And the worst part about it is that there's really no payoff. The only thing we get is a cheap-ass attempt at a scare by using the generic old cat jumps out at you gag. That really doesn't even work very well. I actually feel insulted.
Okay, so by now I'm sure that you're just dying to know what the plot is, so here it is.
Lance plays a cop named Lucas, who's tormented by memories of a child serial killer called Meat Cleaver Max, whom he put into jail. He attends Max's execution and hopes that it can put his mind at rest and put a stop to his nightmares. Hi, I'm Lucas McCarthy, and I'm an alcoholic. Hi, Lucas! Max is then executed by electrocution, and he somehow survives it and has to be electrocuted again excessively. Then apparently the evil inside of him is so strong that he's able to use electricity to live on, and he continues to torment Lucas and resume his killing ways.
Well, the plot actually seems alright, doesn't it? But then again, it could just be my editing. Alright, so let's just break this down piece by piece. We'll start with the villain.
Meat Cleaver Max Janke is a child serial killer who's brutally executed and is now continuing his murderous rampage from beyond the grave.
Okay, so far that's not too original. It sounds like a mix between Freddy Krueger and the killer from Ghost in the Machine. But let's keep digging, shall we?
Okay, so now I've got a scene of some of the aftermath from Max here, and holy shit! Oh, that's gruesome. Oh man, dude, this guy's fucking brutal. Oh man, and how badass is that? To just bust out of an electric chair like that? I think our villain may have redeemed himself for being so unoriginal.
Alright, maybe I heard that wrong.
That's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard.
We're supposed to be afraid of this guy? You know, looking back at the execution scene, I think he was probably just way too fucking cheesy to die realistically.
Increase the voltage.
Yeah, increase the voltage, shithead! Lucas, I'm gonna tear your world apart.
No, that's not how you say that.
We'll tear your soul apart.
There you go, that's how you say it.
Coming back to fuck you up.
That's it. I've given up hope on this movie. Now it's time to just pick it apart for what it is. So, you've seen how fucking cheesy our villain is.
This is just the beginning.
Okay, unfortunately he's right. So let's just finish up our little bio of Meat Cleaver Max before we move on. Hey, wasn't that guy in The Fifth Element?
Yes, there he is.
Ha! I knew it! Sorry, there was really no point in that.
Alright, now to punctuate his already overwhelming cheesiness, looking back at this scene here, it really looks and sounds like a goddamn cartoon.
Alright, so he turns into Casper the Friendly Serial Killer. So I mentioned earlier that he reminds me a little bit of Freddy Krueger, but the similarities are ridiculous, like the way that he torments Lucas.
Don't look now, Cub, but your family's dead.
They were. And you did. They were really huge. Don't you remember?
Just kidding.
Though Max is just really weird and stupid.
And Freddy's just way more menacing when he does it.
I'm Michael Jameson. I'm your court-appointed attorney.
Max doesn't even really do anything most of the time. It's like he's just playing with it. It's a fucking joke.
Funny thing happened to me on the way to the studio today. I saw a lady and a baby hit by a truck.
Okay, a really bad joke. Mr. Hendrickson, if you'll do the honors. Thank you.
So, the movie starts out with Lucas having a flashback of his partner and him moving in on Meat Cleaver Max to make their arrest. Then he comes across his partner all dismembered and dying.
I was scared. It's the best.
His agonizing moans sounded like a really horrible voiceover job.
So Lucas wakes up from his nightmare and has a really weird moment with Max. Then he wakes up again and has a really weird moment with his wife.
Don't start with that psychiatry shit.
Lucas, you just tried to strangle me.
And it wasn't even role-playing night. Then he goes and watches Max get executed, and we enter the meat of the movie.
So from here on out, a good chunk of the movie is just spent trying to create suspense out of nothing.
That and imitating A Nightmare on Elm Street with the furnace.
The Springwood Slasher. That's what they called me.
So yeah, now it's mostly just really fucking boring. Just various scenes of people walking around in the dark with suspenseful music playing. I guess nobody ever told him that suspense only ever works when something happens at the end of it once in a while. Usually all they do is just throw in a few poorly crafted, cheap-ass scares. Uh-oh, somebody's feet. Oh shit, a scary furnace. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no!
Oh yeah!
Oh yeah, speaking of cheap scares, they seem to really like to blame shit on the cat, even if it had nothing to do with it.
You seen Cosmo?
He's probably chasing Scott in the basement.
Damn it, Cosmo.
Kitty?
And then we have Lucas's son, who apparently has a hobby of ripping off food companies.
What's all this?
It's Nessa's Quick. It's 2 cases of chocolate and 1 of strawberry.
And how are you gonna pay for all this?
It's free. They sent it to me.
Why?
Because I wrote and told them I found rat hair in my last carton of their otherwise delicious product.
Scott, it's the 4th delivery this month. I'm gonna have to talk to your father about all this. He's not gonna be real happy about it.
Mom, it's not that serious. I mean, what's the problem here?
I just wish you wouldn't rip off the entire world.
Oh, those crazy kids and their fraud schemes.